Well, hello everybody, this is Mac, and we are going to solve equations using distributive property. This is version C. I've done a version A and a B, and so usually on the version C I'll go a little quicker. This is just a way for you to get more practice in case a concept you're not quite locking in on and you want to do some extra worksheets. Now, to find all my worksheets and all my videos, make sure you visit maxtutorials.com. If you can also like and subscribe to this video, that does help me out also and helps me to keep bringing these to you if you find them helpful, and I really hope you do. Okay, so let's do some algebra. Once I see a number in front of a parenthesis, called the distributive property. We distribute that 5 across both of them. So 5 times 2x, that's just going to be a 10x, and 5 times positive 1 is going to be a positive 5 equals 55. Now I'm just going to subtract 5 from both sides. Maybe I'll zoom up a little bit. They go away. I'm going to get 10x equals 50. Well, just divide by 10. I get x equals 5. If any of that was a little fast for you, I strongly encourage that you go back to maxtutorials.com and look at my two-step problem and my one-step problem on how to solve. Because I am moving through that a little quickly because I did go slow on that in another video. I'm kind of assuming that you've watched the other videos. All right. Now here, once I do the distributive property, I have another number out here that I can combine. So I'm going to get 6x plus 18 equals 36. So once I subtract 18 from both sides, I'm going to get 6x equals 18, and then I'm going to divide each side by 6. That's going to give me an x equals 3. Okay? Let's go on to number 3 now. Now I'm going to distribute a negative number across. That's going to give me a negative 12x. Now, what's a negative times a negative? It is a positive 8 equals 40. Letters on one side, numbers on the other. I want to get rid of that 8 by doing the opposite. And now I get a negative 12x. Do not forget to bring that negative. And 40 minus 8 is 32. Once I divide by a negative 12, don't forget to do that, you're going to see that that is going to be an x equals, oh dear, I did something wrong, didn't I? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. I really think that that should say 48. So what did I do wrong? I did nothing wrong. Everything is correct. So that's going to be just a 32 over 12, or that could be a 16 over 6, or that could be an 8 over 3. Okay, just to make sure, what does the answer key say for number 3? It says that it should be a negative 3. And this is not at all a negative 3. So I am now going to question my answer key, and I'm going to go back and check it. All right, so watch this video, and then if there's a problem with the answer key, I'll put up a new one that has a better answer key, okay? But this is correct. I'm looking at it and staring at it and looking for anything I could have done wrong, and I didn't. All right, so going on to number 4. 4 times 2x is an 8x. 4 times a negative 3 is a negative 12. And I'm just going to copy down this minus 8, and that equals 24. Now I have some like terms to deal with. So I'm just going to copy my 8x, add a line, change the sign. Signs are the same, add, and keep the sign. And that's going to equal 24. Now I'm going to add 20 to both sides because that will get rid of this 20, and I'm going to get 8x equals 44. Once I divide each side by 8, I get x equals 44 over 8, which again would be 22 over 4, which again would be 11 over 2. Now, I could sit here and figure out that 4 goes into both of those. I just went quickly. It doesn't really matter, and I just cut them in half. Number 5. Okay, 6 times 2x is a 12x. 6 times 5 is a positive 30 equals 54. Now I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. Boom, die. And I'm going to get 12x equals a 24. Hey, one that works out nice and evenly. I love that. X equals 2. Okay, something's going on with these right columns where they're not coming out nice and even. They're probably not working with the answer key. So the answer key may have some errors in that. So I apologize for that. I'll make sure that the one that's online has a better answer key after I fix this one. All right, so here we go. 15x. Signs are different, so we're going to subtract. We're going to keep the sign of the bigger number, which is positive, equals 50. Now I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and I'm going to get 15x equals 45. Once I do that, I divide each side by 15, and how many times will 15 go in the 45? 3. Nice and even. Love it. Okay, now this one, I'm sorry, I'm going to go like this because I kind of ran out of room. Negative 3 times 4x is a negative 12x. Negative 3 times a positive 1 is just a negative 3. And that's going to equal negative 27. So to move the 3, I have to add it to both sides. And I'm going to get negative 12x. Signs are different. Subtract. Keep the sign of the, keep the sign of the bigger number, which is negative. Okay? Now, once I divide each side by a negative 12, negative divided by a negative is a positive 2. Boom. All right, let's go to number 8 here. Okay, I'm going to distribute that 2 across both of these. 2 times 5x is 10x. 2 times the negative 4 is a negative 8. Sorry, let me put that x in there. That's important. Now I'm just going to copy everything else. Now I noticed that once I copied everything else, I have some like terms. And I had a whole video on how to deal with like terms. So hopefully you guys have looked at that and you feel very, very comfortable. Okay? So now on this one, I am just all over the place. Okay, I'm just going to erase this whole thing and do that whole step over again. 10x negative 8 plus 6 is a negative 2 equals 38. Now I am going to add 2 to both sides, and I get 10x equals a 40. And once I divide each side by 10, I'm going to get x equals 4. Sometimes I talk so much that I confuse myself. Okay, 7 times 2 is going to be a 14x, and a 7 times a negative 3, positive times a negative, is a negative 21. And that's going to equal 35. Now, I'm going to move the 21 over to this side, and I'm going to get 14x equals 56. I'm going to divide each side by 14, and x is going to equal 4. Okay, 4 times 14 is 56. Number 10, I'm going to distribute the 6 across both of these, whoop, which gives me, what are you doing? Which gives me an 18x plus 12 minus 12 equals 42. Well, I like seeing that 12 minus 12 because that just equals 0. So I just get an 18x equals 42. And once you do the division on this, you're going to find out that 18 goes into 42 3 beautiful times. Okay? Let's go on to number 11. We're halfway done. Negative 5 times a positive 2. Notice I say negative positive while I do this. That's a negative 10x. Negative 5 times a negative 6 is the plus 30. That's going to equal negative 20. Now, once I subtract 30 to both sides, boom, die. I get a negative 10x. Make sure you copy down the negative. Equals, add a line, change the sign. Signs are the same. Add, keep the sign. Now I divide each side by a negative 10 and I get x equals positive 5. Okay, let's go on to number 12. 4 times 4x is just a 16x. 4 times the negative 3 is negative 12. I'm going to just copy down the plus 8 and the equals 56. Now I see I have like terms. 16x, signs are different, so you subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. That's going to equal 56. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And that's going to give me, I'm going to write over here, I'm running out of room. 16x equals a 60, it looks like. And does anybody know what that is? Well, looks to me like, let me look at this just a little bit more, see if I made any mistakes, because I don't think I did. 16x minus 12, negative 12 becomes a negative 4, add 4, 56, 60. Okay, well, it's 60 over 16. Now, 4 will go into both of these. 4 will go into 60 how many times? Well, 4 will go into 6 once with 2 left over. Goes into 20 15 times. 4 goes into 16 4 times. And that is my true answer. All right. Number 13, if I go like this, I'm going to get a 24x plus 8 equals 72. Now I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And I'm going to get 24x equals, what is 72 minus 8? That would be a 64. Okay, now I'm going to divide each side by 24, and that's not a nice, pretty number. X is going to equal, well, let's divide them both by 4. 4 goes into 6 one time with 2 left over. 4 goes into 24 16 times. 4 goes into 24 6 times. Wow, I could have gone higher. Okay, let me go another 2. That would give me an 8 over 3. Boom, that's my answer. Okay, number 14. 7 times 2x is 14x. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35 minus 7 equals 28. I'm just copying these once I do the distributive property. Now that I look at this, I go add a line, change the sign. 14x minus 42 equals 28. Now I want to get the 42 to the right, so I'm going to add the 42 to both sides. And that's going to give me 14x equals, oh, I don't know, 72 it looks like. Okay? Divide each side by 14. X equals, will 14 go evenly in the 72? Well, I'm not really sure. I think it will, but I'd feel a little bit better if I cut it in half. And that's going to become 36 over 7. Oh, no, it doesn't. That's it. That's my answer. Okay? So here we go. Let's keep going. Number 15. I'm going to go negative 2 times 6x, which is negative 12x, and a negative 2 times a positive 3, which is negative 6, equals negative 30. Now I'm going to add 6 to both sides. That's going to give me a negative 12x equals a negative 24. Divide each side by negative. That was ugly. Why won't you cross out? There we go. Divide each side by a negative 12. And I'm going to get an x equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive 2. All right, number 16. I'm going to go ahead and distribute a property this, which is going to give me 15x minus 6 plus 9 equals 48. I have like terms here, so 15x. Signs are different, so I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, which is positive, equals 48. Now I'm just going to minus 3 from both sides, and that's going to give me 15x equals 45. Once I divide by 15 on both sides, I'll see that my x will equal 3. All right, 4 more. Way to hang in there, guys. 9 times 2 is an 18x. And 9 times a positive 4 is a positive 36. That's going to equal 90. Now, once I subtract my 36 from both sides, I'm going to get 18x equals, well, what is 90 minus 36? Well, you can do one of these things. 10 minus 6 is a 4, and 8 minus 3 is a 5. The bigger sign is positive, so it's going to stay positive. How many times will 18... What happened? Oh, I hit my eraser button. Sorry. That's an 18. How many times will 18 go in the 54? X equals, the answer is 3. Okay? Number 8. Let's go ahead and multiply the 5 into both of these. That's going to be 20x. Remember, that's called my distributive property. Now, a lot of people will look at this and go, oh, I see a 5 and a minus 5. That's going to be a 0. Hang on. Slow down. Add a line, change the sign. Just do the process. And once you do that, you'll see, oh, that's not true at all. A negative 5 plus a negative 5, that's just a negative 10, not 0. Okay, so don't get ahead of yourself. Now I'm going to add 10 to both sides to get rid of that one. I'm going to get 20x equals 70 plus 10 is 60. And when I do this, I'm going to get an x equals 3. All right, 2 more. So this one, oh, negative x times 3x, that's a negative 18x. A negative 6 times a negative 2, that's a positive 12. And that's going to equal a negative 72. Okay, so now let's go ahead and subtract 12 from both sides. I'm going to negative 18x equals, now, add a line, change the sign. Both signs are negative, so I'm going to add, and that's going to become an 84. And I'm going to keep the sign, which is negative. Now I'm going to divide each side by negative 18. Does 18 go into 84? I'm not really sure, but I know that negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I know my answer is going to be positive. And what you could do, just find like terms and start putting them in. So I'm looking at this. I see that they're both even. I see that they both add to something divisible by 9. Here's what I mean. 8 plus 4 is 12, and 1 plus 8 is 9. That means a 3 will go into both of these. So let's try that. How many times will 3 go into 8? Twice. With how many left over? 2. How many times will 3 go into 24? 8. How many times will 3 go into 18? 6. But look, I can break that down even more, and I'm going to go into 14 over 3. Okay? Last one. 2 times 7x is 14x. 2 times positive 3 is a positive 6. I'm just going to copy down everything else. Now I see that I have like terms. I'm going to go 14x plus a 10 equals a 38. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. Boom, die. 14x equals 28. And once I divide each side by 14, it should come out nice and easy to an x equals 2. All right, that's a lot of work, guys. But after doing version A, B, and C, you should feel super good about how to do the distributive property now. All right, so I hope that really helped you, and I will see you on the next chapter.